All right. YouTube, welcome to another edition of Cleanpin. Let's get the audio version in. Anchor, Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Audio and video have merged together, folks. Cleanpin here. What we do is we talk everything about wrestling. And I haven't done this in quite some time, and I feel so let down. I love doing this. Audio and video have merged together, folks. There we go. We're up and running. Love doing this. Haven't had the chance really. Just the work and everyday life gets in the way of things. Let's try to keep this a weekly or every 2 week type of a thing here. Because I like wrestling, and I'm sure all of you guys like wrestling. No matter what people say, wrestling, no matter how much we get, no matter how much we get laughed at, ridiculed, have the finger pointed at us, we will always be a fan of wrestling. Professional wrestling, and man, are there really options now, right? Geez, last time I've done this, it was a while ago, but it was, 1 or 2 months ago. And AEW was around, don't get me wrong. But it really feels like the forbidden door has been opened, right? You see NWA wrestlers, which I love, damn fan of NWA, wrestling on AEW. You see AEW athletes wrestling on Impact Wrestling, which I will want to get into a little bit down the road. So, wrestling has really picked up steam. Specifically, you might say that AEW has picked up steam. Let's talk about CM Punk. Finally, if I'm not mistaken, there was a point there, more like in the beginning, where CM Punk didn't even want to talk about wrestling. Heck, maybe it's almost like he wanted to pretend that he never wrestled. It was almost at a point, if I'm not mistaken, where he would be annoyed if you would ask him a wrestling question. And then eventually we seen CM Punk go through various stages. We've seen CM Punk in his UFC days, which, despite not having a victory, give the guy props, because that takes a lot to go in there and just really knowing that your face is going to be bashed in. That says a lot, and that takes a lot for someone to be able to do that. So you gotta give him respect for that. And then eventually you've seen him kind of, when his UFC venture didn't go as planned, I mean, and I'm saying that because he lost, but maybe for him that was a success. I don't know, in the sense of he thought, that he did a good showing, was a respectable showing. Maybe that's the case for him. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for him. Hold on one second. And, and then he eventually became talking about wrestling again. You've seen him on WWE Backstage for a couple of segments, and I actually liked that show. It didn't. It unfortunately didn't do that great in ratings. It did actually pretty horrible in the ratings, and that really didn't go anywhere. Now you see CM Punk in AEW. Happy to be there, CM Punk. White meat babyface CM Punk. Jeez, I don't know how I feel about that. White meat babyface CM Punk. Happy to be there. Diving into the audience. Just happy to be there. Chicago's favorite son when he made his debut. And that was the talk of the town. He is there after 7 years. He's back. And there were rumors prior to him coming back. And I say these rumors probably started about 4 years ago. It seemed like every couple of months there was a CM Punk rumor about CM Punk coming back. And that that was never the case until recently when he did come back. I don't know. Let me ask you guys this. For example, how can I put this? When CM Punk came back to WWE Backstage, and now mind you, he wasn't an employee of WWE, he was an employee of Fox. He was on there, he was contributing. He was on there, and they advertised that he would be coming back. And when he came back, that first week, the ratings popped. The second week, the ratings popped. Ratings were a little bit higher, but ratings dropped a little bit, but they were still relatively high. And then eventually, with CM Punk on, ratings would be a little bit higher. Nonetheless, they were still low. CM Punk coming back, is that really going to make a difference? Is CM Punk a type of guy that is going to really move the needle? And it's been said that CM Punk moved the needle. Don't get me wrong. It was a great seeing CM Punk in AEW coming back out. That dude is a god on a microphone. But the audience that CM Punk caters to, and the audience that AEW caters to, is the diehard fans. the diehard fans are already watching AEW. I mean, just look at and these are male, 30 to 40 something year olds, the typical analogy. The diehard, the smarks, they're the ones. This is their baby, AEW. And that is CM Punk, voice of the voiceless. All these fans that are watching AEW, they're already watching. You already got them. The CM Punk fans, these guys are already watching AEW week in and week out. The CM Punk, to me, is not that type of a star. He is, again, good at what he does. But he's not that type of a star on a tier where, let's say, for example, a guy like John Cena, for example. Or The Rock, or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are guys that if you announced that they were to wrestle again on a full-time schedule, those are the guys that are moving the needle. Those are the guys I think that would improve your rating. And you've seen it. Just the early results. You gained about, what's that? I want to say about 199,000 people. It's really not a lot. You need a star. You need someone. What you need to do is you need to grow your audience. You need to kind of figure out some way, somehow, how to expand your audience in AEW. Look, it's all grown men in their 25 to 40. In AEW, there's like no women and young children at all in AEW, and that's a problem. That's a problem. So, yes, it's great that CM Punk is back. He's going to crush it on the microphone. And I'm sure you'll see some good matches. But him really moving the needle and expanding AEW's audience, you will see a little bit of a difference. But then after a while, after a couple of weeks, we'll be back to the same old. That's the problem. You need to figure out some way to bring back the wrestling fan that has long been gone. You need to expand your audience. And listen, I think WWE does a very good job in expanding their audience. Let me explain. Recently, on WWE, you had Karrion Kross come out. Here is this big controversy one of the last couple of weeks in the wrestling world. Karrion Kross. First, I heard on the internet wrestling community that he was being buried because he lost to Jeff Hardy. I never understood the term buried. Okay, he's losing to a guy. He lost to a guy. By the way, he lost because of a roll up. a roll-up, to a victory, a cheap victory. He lost to a guy that's been champion multiple times, and a guy that's always on TV. Speaking of always on TV, Karrion Kross is always on TV. You are not buried because you lose by a roll-up. You are not buried if you're on TV every week and if you are the focus of TV every week. So Karrion Kross is now on the main roster. And we know that being in NXT and being on the main roster, he's on Raw right now, and Karrion Kross is completely two different things. Two different things. I mean, look at Piper, now called Doudrop. Okay? Completely two different things. You could even make the argument, silly as it sounds, the people running Raw probably don't even watch NXT. As weird as that may sound. But when you're on the main roster, it's the World Wrestling Entertainment Company. Okay? So that leads me to my Karrion Kross point. Wrestling fans, first of all, again, they were up in arms about supposedly, Karrion Kross jobbing out and how, he's being buried already. Again, silly statement to make. Not buried if you're on TV every week. Now, as far as the outfit, very simple. It's marketing. Marketing 101. A lot of the 40-something-year-olds, they didn't like the Karrion Kross mask. Well, guess what? The WWE, they already know that they have your money. You have 2 or 3 kids, you wind up picking, cake, milk duds, popcorn, soda, concessions, and then little Johnny sees the Karrion Kross mask. Oh, I want that Karrion Kross mask. Well, guess what, Pops? Uncle Vinny has you by the balls because you're gonna buy that Karrion Kross mask because you don't want to hear your child on the ride back home talking about how they wanted the Karrion Kross mask. See, just because you don't like the Karrion Kross mask does not mean that your kid does not like the Karrion Kross mask. And guess what? Karrion Kross mask bought on the house shows, Halloween costumes. That's what Vincent K. McMahon cares about, is marketability on the whole side. They want to, they want to sell Karrion Kross action figures. Why not give him a cool mask? Now, listen, you may not think it's a cool mask, but there is someone out there, I'm sure, that considers it a cool mask. Hey, listen, don't you remember as a kid? And be honest, because I know for me in the 80s, mid-80s, you had Demolition walking down the ramp. I thought they were cool as hell in their mask and their ring gear, but someone looking at it could be like, Demolition, why are they dressed in BDSM outfits? So our perception as we get older has changed. Just because you don't like a mask, McMahon does not care about it. Listen, if it does not, that Karrion Kross could tweak that entrance with the mask, and heck, I'm sure he's going to get Scarlett back. And that entrance all of a sudden with Scarlett in there, Guaranteed, because we in the internet wrestling community have a short mind. The same people that hate this ring mask, this outfit, a couple of months from now will be like, wow, that mask is cool. I mean, again, it's about being marketability. If it's not right, doesn't work, I'm sure it will be dropped. I'm sure it'll be dropped. So you don't have to worry about, the little stuff like that whatsoever. Karrion Kross will be just fine. And I'm sure he's fine with his mask as he's going to the merch table to cash out. Now listen, if you gotta let things play out. You really do. You gotta let things play out. Everything, I think that the people in the internet wrestling community, they want instant gratification, and they're not willing to kind of just let things breed out. Breed things out. Let's see how they develop. Just breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. It's that simple. It's that simple. You gotta let things develop. Speaking of which, we jump back to SummerSlam, and we talk about Becky, Lynch, and we're talking about Natalie. But for 1 second before we do that, let's take a quick break. Going to play something old here for you guys as you come on back in. Let's see what we got here. We'll be right back. Let's give you off here. We'll continue with that thought here. So 1 second.
Ricky Repass calls it free money.
I have got back.
There you go. Let's see, guys, here. Trying to leave you off for a good video. As we take a pause. Let's actually insert talking about the Bray Wyatt release here, some parts, and we'll be right back. Is going on impromptu edition here, has been just absolutely horrid. Trying to put these things out here. Just work is so busy. Everything just hard. Who wants to hear excuses? So let's just kind of get into some wrestling talk here as we're driving along. Traffic. There's traffic in New York City. I tell you. Well, in the New York City area. It doesn't matter when it is. It's certain roads in particular will always have traffic. Well, the big news that's been broken, or that's breaking, has been broken, is Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt. And it's kind of a weird pattern here. At first, there was a tweet that was sent by the WWE account, then deleted, then it's been posted up there again. And that's the fact of Bray Wyatt being released. Bray Wyatt on a Saturday. I don't like. Have you ever? I wouldn't know offhand, but do you guys ever saw a release happen on the weekend, on a Saturday, no less? I don't know. I thought it was. I thought it was weird. Almost sensing that maybe kind of being kind of almost like a storyline angle where you're gonna have yet another incarnation of Wyndham Rotunda as Bray Wyatt, but not really Bray Wyatt. That's why you are releasing Bray Wyatt, so to speak, the character. You're never ever going to see that character again in WWE. But you're going to see Wyndham Rotunda as, I don't know, the Fiend now, or you get what I'm saying? I thought it was kind of thrown in as a storyline purpose. And then you hear rumors, so that's what the initial reaction was about. This maybe some part of like some type of storyline. Because I know he's been out for some time, and the way that they kind of left it was they kind of left off the angle kind of like unexpectedly, just kind of paused. He said he'll be back, or something along that regard, and then, since the Raw after WrestleMania, he's been gone. Then I thought it was, and then a part of me also initially thought that it was maybe something to do with, hey, listen, we're going to release you. And we're back. Just a few of my thoughts on Bray Wyatt. You're more than welcome. Please definitely check out the video on my YouTube channel. That brings me to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch re-debut. She appears on SummerSlam. Appearing on SummerSlam after being away for a year and a half, appears on SummerSlam. Next thing you know, you have a match happening. And she defeats Bianca Belair. Becky Lynch defeats Bianca Belair in about 25 minutes. No, 26 seconds, rather. And this was all as a replacement for the Sasha Banks, for the Sasha Banks match that did not happen versus Bianca Belair because of COVID reasons. And everyone's saying, oh, because Bianca lost at SummerSlam to Becky Lynch, all of a sudden people are so quick to say that is because it's can't recall it. Can't recall it. But again, I lost my train of thought here. Yes, Becky Lynch back, right? And defeats Bianca Belair. Now all of a sudden, everyone is still, that's what I was missing, a can of Coke as I was babbling and lost my train of thought. So I'm thirsty. But, Becky Lynch, yes, Becky Lynch debuted SummerSlam. We know that she was training, and it will be, there were rumors that supposed to appear here, supposed to appear here, and you really did not know when she was going to appear, but here she is back in Becky Lynch, a year and a half being away. And because Bianca Belair lost to her in 26 seconds, people are saying that Bianca Belair was buried. And I just gotta go and shake my hand. Just want to go up there and shake my hand. Becky Lynch, remember this, multi-time champion already. I believe it's 7 titles. The person who's going to benefit is Bianca Belair. Watch how Becky Lynch will turn into. Right now, she's soaking it up. Because she's been out for quite some time. Heck, come back in September or even October. And see where you are. But Becky Lynch right now is just taking it all in. Taking it all in. Taking it all in. Because she's going to turn heel. And that is a great Becky Lynch. I like heel Becky Lynch, and I believe she will be transferred to that school. But listen, Becky Lynch on TV numerous of years, on movies, social settings, can very well help. A multiple-time champion losing to a multiple-time champion on TV is not called buried. It's called learning a few pointers, getting a couple of things down. And she could help vastly improve every woman on that roster there. Even better, it's when everyone contributes. And again, little, sand and questions and anything that you may have is always welcome here at Cleanpin. So quite a few things that we already talked about. RK Bro. Let me tell you guys, RK Bro done perfectly. Done perfectly. Randy Orton is the Becky Lynch could show her opponent thing of two. And her being gone, a month or two, Becky Lynch is a whole lot of talent. And I'm looking forward to seeing that talent again this coming year. Heel Bianca Belair, you could even make Bianca Belair heel. Why not? Why not? Yep. So you got that with Becky Lynch. People over complaining about a burial. There was no burial. Heck, if you needed confirmation, you've seen Eve going down the hill. We talked about Karrion Kross. We talked about CM Punk coming back. We got to talk about Roman Reigns coming back. He came back during SummerSlam. And man, Roman Reigns looks jacked. He looks ready to go. A new look on him. Get into as well, before we take a little pause here. I want to get into the topic that very, let me pull this up here. This is from 3 months ago when we talked about the trash bag, Eva Marie, Aleister Black, Here you go, guys.
Live stream. We're live.
Be right back, guys.
Let's get the podcast version here. Okay, and the podcast version is up and running as well. Welcome to everyone on the podcast and on the video form on podcasts. We could be found on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts, and on the video form here, youtube.com on From the Bleachers Sports Show YouTube page, covering everything about wrestling here on this podcast. And on this channel, we cover all sports, home for all sports. And I do welcome your subscription. If you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, it would mean a lot to me. Also have a secondary channel spelled GRES, Res, where I go to famous places, talk about pop culture, graves, the crime scenes, all that stuff. So if you're into that, check that channel out, hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot, and I absolutely suck. Jeez, man. I'm looking on the feed here for the podcast feed, as far as audio and video for that matter. Haven't done one since April 9th, and that is a horrible thing, my friends. That is horrible. We're back. We're fully, I keep on saying that, and, sometimes, work is really busy, which is a good thing. Everyday things just kind of take over. Trying to run 2-3 channels. It just catches up to you. We're going to make an honest effort to talk about wrestling, an hour every week, along with the other videos that I put out in regards to wrestling during the week. Those videos have been a little bit backed up, if you notice. But we will make a concerted effort to do that each and every week. So, enough babbling, and let's kind of talk about really just kind of where we left off. And some of this is old news, so I won't try to bore you with it for too long. I'll try to run through it as fast as I can, give my brief thoughts on it. The first thing that comes to mind, what should we call it? Trash bag gate, or garbage bag gate, or garbage gate.
There you go. There you go. Re-debut. Interesting here. New look. Brock Lesnar made his re-debut. He's back again. WWE now feuding, which is even interesting. Now feuding with Roman Reigns. babyface Brock Lesnar. Something different. New look Brock Lesnar. It's either Brock Lesnar babyface or Roman Reigns babyface. And we know Roman Reigns is here for the long term. We know babyface Roman Reigns exactly did not work. This version of Roman Reigns works so much better. So you know that he won't be heel. My, Paul Heyman, what have you gotten yourself into? Luckily, I'll tell you this. Luckily, Brock Lesnar does have Paul Heyman. Yes, luckily you have Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in his corner, even though Paul Heyman, for now anyway, is with Roman Reigns. Luckily, Paul Heyman will be there for Brock Lesnar and be able to go a few things, something that Brock Lesnar could say. Yeah. I think secretly too, Paul Heyman must be ripping his hair out because he not only has to bother one, but he has to bother two. If you listen to Brock Lesnar talk in the UFC, believe it or not, Brock Lesnar knows how to talk. It's just that you really don't need Brock Lesnar speaking a lot of the times. And now, being that Brock Lesnar is by himself, he's going to be expected to do a whole lot of talking. Got to figure out a constructive way to not to expose Brock Lesnar. But Brock Lesnar, A lot of returns, and it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Again, you watch your Brock in UFC, he could cut a promo. Lot on the plate. If you're a wrestling fan, a lot to digest. Definitely wish you all the best, and we will be back with another edition of Cleanpin. I'm wrapping this up early. I am tired, exhausted. Hope you enjoyed a couple topics we did cover. Hope all is well. Take care.